Good morning. This is Jason Dean coming live at you again for another Film Fanatic show. It is Thursday at 10:49 and yeah, 10:49 or 10:50. It is almost the technically the end of summer. So, yeah, and the other odd thing that happened is we just lost power here in Northport. Very strange. So I'm not sure what the heck's going on. But anyway, so there is no electricity, but I'm able to do some videos. I haven't been doing the videos. I haven't been doing these posts like like I've been doing. As far as I've been in the past, is where I for almost a whole year straight, I was doing a video, pretty much cranking out a video every day, and pretty much uploading the same video. And it got a little bit hectic during the summer, so and my schedule changes a lot during the summer, so wasn't able to do that in the morning. I typically do all of these shows in the morning after I've been up for a little while, and but now I'm kind of back to my quote unquote normal schedule, so I have time to do it. The But I've been also been kind of busy with other things, and I haven't been doing them every day. I've been kind of shifting a little bit the way I've been doing the videos as far as the kind of movies I want to focus on, and also like I've been changing my habits a little bit as far as what movies I buy. I've been trying to buy movies mostly in the exploitation world and trying to make that kind of the priority. I mean, it kind of has always been that's always been the case. But I've been buying, along the way for forever, for a long time. I've been buying all kinds of other films, and I'll still do that. But I've been trying to like cut back on that part and try to focus on buying more exploitation movies, more unknown movies. I've kind of shifted a lot around my thoughts about a lot of those things. So we'll see what happens. And it's an interesting turn of events because recently there's been, a lot of movies that have been coming out. Well, there always are. There's always a ton of movies coming out in the theater. And now that the summer is winding down, there's a little bit less, and the summer blockbuster thing has kind of quieted down. And this summer has been, with the exception of Deadpool and Wolverine, it's been pretty. Well, I should say the best movie I've seen this year was Maxine. I did see that in the theater, and that movie was just awesome. I can't recommend that entire trilogy the most. That's definitely the best movie I've seen this year, as far as definitely being in the theater. Ty West is just, I think, arguably the best director around right now, the most creative, most. I think he's taking the most risks in a lot of ways. His trilogy is just amazing. I think with X and then Pearl and then Maxine, which was the conclusion to the trilogy, an unexpected trilogy starring Mia Goth, and was also those films are also produced by Mia Goth. She had so much input. She is just an amazing actor right now, and just an amazing creative force right now, working outside of really the Hollywood system. But in the meantime, also, I haven't been going to the movies as much. The last movie I saw was about geez. Well, yeah, in another week or two will be like a month already. But the last movie I saw in the theater was Alien Romulus, and that was a pretty big disappointment. I did a couple of shows on Romulus. So, and I'm not really excited about anything else. I did really like Deadpool and Wolverine. I thought that movie was super fun and awesome. But other than that, I haven't been going to the movies as much. Haven't been really excited by movies that have been coming to the theater. But I've been buying. One thing that's different now is I've been buying a shit ton of movies. I've been buying more movies than I normally do, and that's just been super fun and super super cool, and I've been just exposed to and been watching all kinds of movies I've never seen before. So, I still buy the movies that I want. Oh, the power just came back on. Interesting. So I've still been buying movies that I've seen and movies that I had seen in the past and what have you. But most of my purchases lately, especially this year and right up until I went to Bull Moose on Saturday last week, and I've been pretty much buying movies I haven't seen before. I got a couple upgrades. There's one movie that I got that I'm going to get to. I haven't watched it yet, and I only have a really I have a copy of it on DVD. It was the first time I had ever seen it, and it's an amazing slasher movie. It's a Canadian slasher movie called Curtains. Super awesome. I came across that movie about a year ago. I never heard of it before, and I went to Opera House Video, which is the great and only video shop here that exists in Maine. They had a really awesome sale. They do these sales, street sales, a couple times a year, and where they have tons of movies that they have so many movies that they don't have Dennis Howard, the owner, doesn't have the room to really put them out. So the the whole situation is they basically have these big sales, and they sell tons of movies for cheap, and I've gotten so many great movies. And one of the movies I got was Curtains. I ain't never seen it, and it's just uh, I believe it's in the 80s. It came out in the early 80s, and it's a totally awesome, amazing, atmospheric, creepy, you know, old school slasher horror exploitation movie. My favorite genre of all time, and it totally kicks ass. But I have the copy that I got on DVD it's okay. It's a decent copy. It's not great quality, but it's okay. But I got it for free, for virtually free. I think it was like $1, and the movie is awesome. I was blown away by it. Never heard of it, never seen it. And then when I was in Bull Moose last week, they had it on Blu-ray, a really beautiful edition, a collector's edition, all kinds of features. So I'm super excited to sit down and watch that movie. So the yeah, and then so today's show is going to be on another movie I had never heard about, and it kind of goes back to when I was a kid, how I pick out movies. A lot of the times when I'm searching out movies and looking for new things to check out, I a lot of times I'm sold on the artwork, especially if it's a movie obviously I've never seen before. That's usually for me a big selling point. And then I usually look for I'm pretty I'm pretty anal about when the time period is that the movie came out. I buy movies, newer movies and from whatever decade, but my specialty that I always look for is like 70s, early 80s. Like that's my favorite decade to me because that's the height of the whole kind of exploitation world. And so that is like my prime time thing. I usually when I come across a movie, I check out some of the reviews on there that are substantial, or they have actual a little bit of depth behind them, and then I'll check the year. And it's funny, a lot of the times if I come across it, even if it looks pretty cool, if I come across that it's like 2007 or something like that, I will sometimes pass on it because I will rather go and find a movie that came out in the 70s that is like the real deal, like low down and dirty, in the vein of a true exploitation movie. So that's typically what I do, and it's a weird thing that I do, but I kind of I kind of love that I'm focused on the that genre, exploitation genre. And again, it's so broad. It's such a broad thing. But again, I make exceptions. I've been really one of the newer discoveries that I've been that I've recently got into, and I've been aware of these movies for a long time, and a lot of these films kind of came out at the tail end, like in the '80s, of kind of the exploitation world or the slasher kind of craze. But a lot of these films came out in the '90s also. And recently, I've been getting into a lot of films that were that are part of the whole shot on video or movement, which is kind of like a subgenre of the exploitation world. It's part of that because it's uber low budget. It's again, it exemplifies that thing of why I think a lot of these movies, as well as stupid as they are or as ridiculous they are, why they work. Where it totes that line of where it's so absurd and so like you know just ridiculous, but it totes that line where it's so bad it's good. And so this movie that I'm doing the show on today is without a doubt one of the wackiest, one of the strangest movies, one of the most enjoyable movies I have seen in recent time. And it's completely. That being said, this movie is completely fucking insane, and that is L.A. AIDS Jabber. L.A. AIDS Jabber. It's completely fucking crazy. Like this movie, the premise is what the title says. It's basically about this guy who is he goes crazy. He loses his mind, and he gets after he is he realizes he is infected with the AIDS virus. So he basically becomes more or less a serial killer or a this movie I kind of consider this to be kind of a slasher movie. And what he ends up doing after he becomes infected with the AIDS virus is he goes around and he injects people with his own blood that he hates and that he despises, and this is like how he's getting back at society. Everybody who's fucked him over or wronged him in some way or another. His boss, like his boss who fired him, and his just all of these. And this movie is just completely insane. I never saw this movie before. I was sold completely on the artwork. I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's uh it's one of the most low budget films I've ever seen. It's kind of next level. I can't really even begin to describe this movie because it's just so utterly ridiculous and amazing. Um, the packaging is super cool. It was directed by Drew Goddard. There's a really great interview with him, and actually, the special features on here are pretty incredible. Considering that this movie, again, for all intents and purposes, this movie is like an like an utter piece of shit, utterly just a piece of garbage. But again, it's so terrible and so atrocious that I can't help but loving. But I fell in love with this as soon as I saw it. After I saw it, I was just like, this movie is the shit. I just can't get enough of this movie. I think it as bad as and as terrible as this movie is, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Unlike, and again, the whole kind of shot on video thing is a relatively new thing. I've always been aware of it, but I've been buying. I've the last year or so I've bought some really good shot on video movies, and again, it's another. It's a subgenre of the world of exploitation, and so the killing of Bobby Green, and then also another just masterpiece in this genre is Suburban Sasquatch. I did a couple of shows on both of those movies, and I think I have a couple more. Just completely ridiculous. And the other thing too is it like came out in 1994, which is just totally insane. 1994. This is a later film. I mean, 94 now is like, I mean, obviously that's a very long time ago. It's actually the year that I graduated high school. So a lot of the kind of shot on video movies I notice are later. A lot of these movies came out in the 90s. They're still being made. There's some that came out in the 80s. It's such an interesting subgenre. I had a buddy who recommended, my friend Mike Vickers recommended me he told me about Suburban Sasquatch. And I couldn't believe it. And I bought that movie last year, or maybe it was a couple of years ago. And I think that movie is just amazing. And so I had been aware of a lot of these movies that were shot on video. It's like they're it's that's part of kind of the aesthetic of these movies, obviously for what they are, but they are so fucking entertaining. And but it's a huge genre. There's so many movies and there's a lot of newer movies that are coming out, and this is not newer, but 94 is a very long time ago. But I believe I saw a few titles in this genre that had just recently come out on Blu-ray too, and it's amazing. Like these movies are just so fun, so ridiculous. This and again, I this is one of those movies because of the subject matter and the nature of it. Again, it's I feel like it's definitely like a black comedy movie without a doubt. Even though I consider it to be, and I consider it to be a slasher movie as well, and it's definitely a hardcore like exploitation movie. It's total trash. Um, but it's super fun. It's such a fun movie. It's like that's one of the things that why I have taken a little bit of a left turn as far as my presentations on the channel, movies I'm talking about more and more. I don't know. I've been kind of fed up with Hollywood movies, to be honest, because I just feel like, again, there are some great ones that have come out, but I've just been increasingly, I've just found myself getting more and more annoyed by newer films that have been coming out, especially Hollywood films. Just because and I will say this too, even in regards to like, movies that I like. One of the best movies I saw early this year was Martin Scorsese's last movie, Killers of the Flower Moon. But there's been so many movies that have come out, obviously, winter and then also especially summertime. But overall, even good movies included, but I've seen mostly not very good movies. A lot of terrible movies actually. The I get sick and tired of how everything is so serious. Everybody is like, it's got to be really serious, and it's either a prequel or a reimagining or a sequel or fucking whatever. But every movie, all the content that's coming out, television shows also, um, everything is so damn serious, and I just like to me that part of it, and there's a lot of aspects to it that drive me crazy, but that's one big aspect that drives me crazy is that everything is so serious, and it's and I get tired of it, and it's exhausting. But when I throw these movies in, especially this movie, L.A. AIDS Jabber, is it's that it's as politically incorrect as this movie is. It is it's fun, and it's not to be taken so seriously. It doesn't lose to degree its entertainment value, and I feel like that's what's been happening with a lot of films lately, is that they're so serious that you feel like you're taking some kind of like college entry class or something. It's just there's too much like pontification and um, there's too much of the same tone throughout a lot of these films. But this is fucking fun, and as politically incorrect and as terrible as this movie is, it's the cat's meow. I love this movie. It is so utterly ridiculous. It's so wrong and just outrageous. It's definitely one of the most outrageous movies I've seen. Yeah, it's amazing, and I can't recommend it enough. But it came out, I believe it was shot in '92, or yeah, 1992, and it came out in '94. It was distributed by the director and the filmmakers to video stores. It never got like a theatrical release, and it's insane that this has gotten a Blu-ray, and I think there is a 4K version of this. It's amazing. So thanks again, and we will see you next time. Peace.